the drink package can do great things for you. You see what I'm saying here? All right. So
Difference.
I guess we need to
Get going.
get get moving. Hey guys, welcome to Suitcase Divas podcast. This is episode 21. My name is Denise Diabaldi with Redbirds Travel.
And I'm Cheryl Garcia with ABCD Adventures.
Okay, guys, so in this episode, if you stuck with us so far, which I surely hope you have, this is our third and final part of our MSC cruise that we went on as travel agents. So I think where we left off was we're headed out of Miami, and now this is going to be 2 days at sea, which we kind of dread because it's turning into a shit show at this point. So this was Thursday, day 6. Uh, we had to omit going to Ocean Key Island, which voided everything, which we talked about why people are so angry, and just headed back to New York. So we're at sea, day 6, Thursday. The seas are extremely rough. Like we essentially were going through a huge storm. The seas were like 16 to 18 feet waves, and the wind was gusting at like 80 plus miles an hour. Like it was miserable. Nobody was outside. Everybody pretty much had to stay inside. They had all of the patio stuff was closed. They had drained some of the pools. There was netting over the pools. So it was like kind of apocalypse. Like stay inside, stay where you are, don't go outside unless you absolutely have to type of deal. But that was also our gala day, right? So we knew we were going to be dressing up. We looked forward to being in our formal wear, and we were going to take our pictures on the beautiful staircase. We've said the ship was gorgeous all along, correct? So
Yes.
the each of these staircases they had Swarovski crystals, and they were all upwards of 10 grand or more. I mean, you recall how beautiful were those staircases, Cheryl?
Yeah, that's when you hear about MSC, a lot of people talk about the staircase, and they were gorgeous. We were looking forward to formal night so we could take our pictures on the stairs. We
Yeah.
had taken some throughout the week, but it wasn't the same. Like we were really looking forward to formal wear.
You
Um,
look fabulous, by the way.
oh,
Very,
did
very
you?
beachy. Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah.
thought you meant that night. Yeah, are we did not get to, as we said in like every episode, we did not get to wear our bathing suits other than the very first night when we were in the indoor hot tub because of the weather and the rain. And so we decided let's wrap up our MSC cruise like we wish we had been able to with a
That's right.
tropical atmosphere. So actually right now in North Carolina, it was 15 degrees this morning.
15 degrees this morning.
So we were chatting with each other, talking about because we had, planned what bathing suits we were going to wear on what day and blah, blah, blah. So we were kind of doing that again this morning when we were prepping for the show. And it was really difficult to get in the bathing suit mindset when it's 15 degrees outside.
So
So
that's how much we love you guys because we were just like, ooh, check out my little Ruffly top.
yeah.
So, guys, we're doing it all for you, for the love, for the love.
And honestly, when now that we're talking about gala night, we could have dressed in our formal wear and been slightly warmer because it is cold, even in the house. It's cold.
It is cold.
But
It is cold. Yeah, but
it
we're
was fun
listen.
to pull out our bathing suits and reminisce about what we had hoped we were going to be wearing.
That's right.
So we're
And
trying
I'm
to,
totally bringing this for sure down to regionals. Orlando's calling my name. I need some sunshine and some warmth. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. So that's
But
why we're in our bathing suits today, trying to get in the mindset of
we're
where we wish we
that's
were
right.
on this cruise.
We're bringing it all home. This is the final wrap up of the MSC cruise. So
Yeah.
one thing I will say about the gala dinner, um, pretty much I've been not throwing their food under the bus, but it's been very lackluster. I thought for me, this is the worst food I've ever had on any cruise that I've ever been on, and I've been on several cruises. But this night they served the Maine lobster tail and shrimp with, I think, mashed potatoes or something.
I don't, we have a
But anyway,
picture, but I don't remember what it was.
we
We
do
have to
have
look
a
after
picture,
that.
yeah. So, but I will say, I it was probably the best meal that we had on this ship for me, because being a Maine girl, I love Maine lobster tail. It reminds me of my mama. May she rest in heaven. But
I just want to
yeah,
say
so
that I like how you say Mama Southern when you're talking about your Northern life. You're kind of that blend between the Northern
well,
transplant.
you do know that I've been down here longer than
I
I
know.
was born and raised in Maine, but now I've been down here so long. But I still people still know they pick up um on my wicked good lobster tail. They do pick up on some on my on northern accent, but I don't have much of a northern accent. So I'm sorry, Maine peeps, if I'm not doing you any justice. I've just been down here for so long. Um, but yeah, the lobster tail, it was a Maine lobster tail because people all the time try to come down here in restaurants and be like, oh, it's Maine lobster tail. I'm like, no, it's not. That's not Maine lobster because you can tell Maine lobster because it's definitely a softer, sweeter meat. These lobsters that are born and raised down in the South with the warm water, we have the cold water. So it's just different, and you can tell. So no, was it like a lobster right off the boat up in Bar Harbor? Absolutely not. But it was still decent. Probably the best meal I've had on the ship thus far. So I will give them a little props that was a decent meal.
Yeah, you were
It was
excited
slow.
when you tasted it. You were like, "Oh," because you were like, "I really hope this is good." I'm not like I'm not like big a huge foodie when it comes to that, so I wouldn't have known the difference. It was pretty good, but you were like, "Oh, this is good Maine lobster. This is better than you had hoped, considering what
Listen, my
where the bar
expectations
had
were
been
not
set."
that high.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're
Right.
right.
So
It was very slow that night. It was the slowest night of service we had.
yeah, it was over an hour to from start to finish. And we were just like, and the other thing is the boat was rocking so much and we were in our formal wear, so we always advocate for don't wear high heels, especially when the boat's rocking. But I did it. I did the heel thing because I was wearing the formal dress, and so I'm like trying to brace myself anytime I could find like some wall or stuff because we were like getting pushed into walls.
Right, yeah. It
um
was wobbly for
it
sure.
was a bit tippy and a bit wobbly, and of course the drink package does not help with that. But I good. I feel like I did. I was a little afraid I was going to bust my ass on the Swarovski crystal staircase in the heels with the boat rocking for our pictures, but
Right.
it ended up being good. And thank you, Patty, our lovely friend Patty, because there was lines of people on these for these staircases. Like it's the big deal. Like that's the thing to do on formal night. And they had a lot of flashes and backlights and things like that. And then
That's the ship
after all
photographer.
that,
The ship, they had
yes,
one staircase blocked off for the professional photos,
pictures. Yep.
and then we were on the other one.
Right.
Because earlier in the week, we did stop for throughout the whole week and many nights and sometimes during the day, the cruise offers a professional photo package. And we did have a few taken.
Yeah.
We were not impressed with the quality. The lighting throughout the ship, especially with the professional
They
photographs,
seem
was
washed out,
not
right?
good. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty washed
Um,
out.
so we actually did see someone's photographs that they had taken after they had been printed, and they just were not that impressive. And not to say this is a photographer's fault. I don't know. I'm not a photographer. I'm a iPhone
Yeah, but the ones
profile picture.
Patty took of us were great. I mean, you could see the sparkle of the staircase and
Right.
all that good stuff.
But the
So
ones that
something
we
was
saw,
amiss.
yeah, the lighting throughout the ship, especially over those stairs, the lighting in general was not very good to highlight the steps, because it washed out the stairs. The only way you could really see the details is as you were walking up to it. It did not come across well in photographs
Yeah.
because of the lighting, which maybe they did that so you would buy the professional ones. I don't know. But you had to adjust your lighting on your device in order to get a pretty decent picture because the ship's lighting was not great for photographs.
Right. I will agree with that for sure. So so you know, that was that. And then what did we find out happened? So we've already had a death on board, right? We shrugged that off. Let's keep moving forward. Then what happened, Cheryl? What did we find out this
We
night?
after we wrapped up our dinner and our photography session, we went back up to our infamous VIP 18th floor is where we spent a lot of our time.
Which, by the way, Cheryl, you keep saying that's not called the Sky Lounge, but it is actually called the
No, it
Sky
is. You
Lounge.
say it's a VIP lounge. It's not called the
Oh, yeah,
VIP
I did
lounge.
make that part up. Sorry.
Yeah,
You're right.
so it is called the Sky Lounge.
And
So
it really is the VIP cigar room. And you'll know this, if you go there and find really cool people like we did.
yes. And by the way, we'll talk about the cigar lounge because that's not something you find on many other cruise lines, an indoor smoking area at all.
Yeah,
Which
and I don't even smoke. And like I said, I was hanging out there because the people were fucking hilarious. Well, until the last night. Then it got a little
yeah,
cray
we'll
cray,
get
but that's
there.
coming
But
up. Yeah.
so we go up, it's Thursday night. We're all still all dressed up. We go up to watch the musicians play, our dear friend Anthony and John. And then we are sitting around in the lounge chit-chatting, and that's kind of pretty much what we did. Then we
Yeah.
found out about the fire on our cruise
Yeah.
the night
Hmm.
before. It happened late the night before. When we found out it
Yeah.
on Thursday.
Fire in the casino. Fire in the casino.
Yes. So they had to shut the fire doors, block off the casino, and we did not get a lot of details. We were talking with people who saw the doors shut, who heard the announcement. Now, the announcement did not go through
To the whole ship.
the
I
whole
think that would
ship.
have caused mass panic.
Yeah.
That's not going to
But I
happen.
do believe it went through those that were on that deck, which was deck 7. So they had heard that there was an
But
alert,
we found out about this in the in the VIP room. This is why it's the VIP room, guys,
right?
because the passengers that were in that hallway are the ones that told us about the fire.
Right.
And had we not been a VIP, then we would not have found out about the fire.
Which up in that room, we did find out so much that we can't disclose because we just don't have the permission of the people on the ship, which we're trying to get some, because there are some stories that are not ours and we don't want to share them without, approval from the involved parties. But it was definitely where you wanted to go to get the dirt on the ship. But yeah, we found out about the fire on that casino, on the casino floor that night. And while we're talking about the casino, I do want to mention, I don't think we talked about this in the other episodes, but
It's a beautiful casino. Like, I do
it
have a video. We can post that, and we'll post some videos because I got the cigar room, the VIP cigar room too.
is. Yeah. So we did, Denise is not a gambler, but I love casinos. I can't be trusted in casinos because for my gamblers, I'm a max better. So it goes like that. Like I can't
Ah,
I have to really pace myself and I get into it. And as you know, with any other casino, there's no light. You can't tell the time. Like you don't know how long you spent in there if you're not really paying attention and the drinks are flowing. So this casino, as with everything else on the ship, the floor plan is weird. I shouldn't say weird. It's very
it is
different.
a little different. It is a little different. But you know what I liked as a non-smoker? They kind of only let you smoke in certain parts of the casino. Like some on other ships I've been on, that's a free for all. Anywhere in the
Oh, I've
casino, you're
never
allowed to
seen it like
smoke.
that. On the casinos or on
Yeah,
the ships I've been on, smoking's always been separate.
kind of restricted. Yeah.
Yeah. However, they usually blend, but this floor plan absolutely does keep the smoking section separate from the
Yeah.
others. I will
Pretty,
so the way they
yeah.
had it set up when you walk in, and it is beautiful. I will say the atmosphere of the ship, we're gonna say over and over
Yeah.
again, is
It's all
gorgeous.
sparkly and glass and
So
shimmery, and the
this
casino
casino
is red and black.
kind of set up like a circle. When you walk in, you have the bar in the middle, and it's a circle. You can go
Mhm.
around the bar, and as you're going around to your right, well, from the way I came in, most of the time, you have your tables. I'm not a big table player. I just don't know much. I play craps. That would be my table. And I play black. No, what was it? We played in Vegas. War. That was fun. But so I didn't really go over there to the tables much. And then as you continue to go around, you hit the corner of that circle, and that's your smoking section with the slot machines. You keep going around. They had more slot machines up towards back towards the front. The slot machines are not ones I am familiar with. Like even the style of them. If you are a slot machine player, which I'm not a huge, I don't go somewhere where I can play all the time, but when there is a casino, I do go play the slot machines. So they didn't have any of my typical favorites that you would see in casinos repeatedly. So I found I would just hop on one and play occasionally. They were okay. I didn't find any great ones. I like the ones that have the animation that you're filling up the bucket that you're or whatever, and then it has like the special that thing that happens. I like those. They didn't have a ton of those. I stayed in that one little section and played a couple times, but it was nice atmosphere, nice people. It was never crowded, surprisingly. I don't think at one time did we
I
ever go
don't
to a
think
casino
people
that was
like that
crowded.
wasn't like the hot spot for most
Mm-mm.
people.
Which surprised me considering we were stuck on the ship, that it
I
wasn't
think it's because
far.
people, but not a lot of people knew about the cigar lounge. I was like, maybe that's but because everybody was going up to 18 to smoke, but there really wasn't a lot of people up on
Right.
that little room. Nobody knew about it. And when we told people you found out about it, shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Don't tell
Um,
anybody this place exists.
I do want to say if you are a gambler and you like casinos and you like to spend some time there, most cruise lines have package or have specials and deals for those that play the casino. Usually you'll get an offer after you leave the ship, and they're usually really good deals. But it does depend on how much money you spend in the casino. But if you do like to play and you just kind of want to go and cruise for a bit and not have it, whatever casinos on the ships are, they come with pretty good perks if you use it a lot. So just to keep that in mind.
Yeah. All
And
right.
that kind
Well,
of rounded out our Thursday night,
yeah.
our day set, our day 6. Yes.
Yeah. So then we're moving on to day 7. That's our 7th and final day at sea. We get off the next day. We should be back in New York if we've made it, if the ship doesn't go down, because we have had a death, we've had a fire, and people are still losing their fucking minds at this point. Like everybody started getting real rowdy, just uh everybody drank a lot. So if anything went wrong, and a lot of stuff went wrong, they would complain to the front desk, and the cruise line would give you like a bottle of champagne or a bottle of wine. Like, I didn't get my meal plan, or I didn't get this, or I didn't like that. And they just fly everybody with alcohol. Even if you didn't buy the drink package, it was like,
Right.
you get a bottle, you get a bottle. Everybody gets a freaking bottle because we keep fucking up. So I think that actually attributed to some of the chaos,
Right.
towards the last
Yeah.
day.
But we started
So
off our day get packing. We started off
we
our
knew
final
that, yep.
day.
And we had bought the Wi-Fi package because we knew we were going to break down and we were going to work. So that also gave us Spotify. So we were able to dance in our room, and we were packing and we were having fun, and we knew we were going to work a little bit that day.
So the reason
I
why we
don't
were
even
packing, what were you gonna say?
I don't remember if we ever went to the buffet, or I think at this point I just swore off eating. I was like, I can make it another day.
And I think if we did, we pretty much at this point were just, if we were going to the buffet floor, we were just eating charcuterie stuff, meats and
Yeah.
cheese. And if I could find some fruit, because I think I only got the grapes one day and bananas, a banana one day. And other than that, it was very hard to get
By
fruit.
the grace of God.
Yeah. And I looked for those grapes every day. I mean, it was just, although they did have fruit bowls, but or the mixed fruit,
It was
but
cut fruit, yeah.
it wasn't fresh fruit, which
But
was
it's
kind
kind
of
of slimy.
disappointing.
A bit,
Yeah,
a little
so
bit.
we
Yeah.
started
Yeah.
packing because you have the option on your
Oh
last
God.
day to you can pack all your stuff and leave it out of your outside your door, your cabin door. Ours was I think by 10.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll take it for you. So that way you don't have to carry it off the ship or anything like that. So what we did, we each had brought 2 suitcases and our go bag. So we put
We
our
had
biggest
so much stuff.
we did.
So
And
much stuff.
yeah. So we ended up, excuse me, we ended up putting our biggest suitcases outside because we wanted to see how the process went so we can report back to you guys. So we put our biggest suitcases outside before we went to
Mine
dinner.
was 53 pounds, by the way, my biggest. I squeaked by the limit at 53 pounds. The lady was just nice at the airport.
Yeah, I was
So,
just under 50. So we were good because 50 is
and
like
that was just
magic
our checked
number.
bag. We still had another whole carry-on wheeling suitcase and our go bags, which was
Right.
our personal item. So we had a
So
lot of shit.
That was pretty easy to do. We just left it out there. They actually gave us a tag and a number because the way you do your luggage the next day on when you're disembarking determines your way to get off when you're called to get off the ship, which we'll talk about that when we talk about disembarking. But so we dropped that off and that was pretty easy, and then our room was a little bit cleaner. We had a little bit more space, but we also like to keep our stuff so we could come back, change, have pajamas, have our stuff that we needed for the next day. And as Denise said, we bought the Wi-Fi package that day because we're like, okay, let's get some work done. Let's touch base. We've been, you know, sitting out at the sea for a day and a half now. I didn't love their Wi-Fi.
It was awful. Mine
We
didn't even work. I'm actually fucking gonna write them and I want my money back. It was $35 a day. And the only thing that even worked was my Spotify music. Like
right.
my Wi-Fi, it would not let me it wouldn't let me get on the internet. It and I will tell you this. So they make it because you get the MSC, my MSC for me, or MSC for me app that you have on the ship. And that's how you book your excursions and you get around and you find your restaurants and menus and all that stuff. So by theory, you're going to buy your Wi-Fi package on your phone, correct? That's the way they encourage you to buy it. Well, then we're like, well, we want to work on our laptops. So we actually need the Wi-Fi to be on our laptops to work, not on our phone.
Mhm.
But riddle me this, Cheryl. Do you suppose they would let us change our Wi-Fi that we bought on the phone to go over to another device?
You would think they would because most cruise lines do. When they say one device, it's just one device at a time, and you choose which device you're using. So you would just log in and activate it like that. But did MSC let us do that?
No, they did not. They did not. They said that we were going to have to pay a separate $35
No,
device
actually,
fee.
that wasn't an option
They
because
wouldn't even let us. Right. They wouldn't
correct.
even let us.
You could
So, and
not
and we
add.
asked a couple different people. So it depended on who you talked to. The first person said, "Yes, you can go over and talk to him." And then I went over and talked to him and he's like, "Nope, sorry, you're not going to be able to do that." And it's not even like we were trying to share each other's. Like I wasn't trying to steal yours and you were trying to steal mine. We each paid our own Wi-Fi package and it just was
And you
bullshit.
could
It was
not
just
add,
bullshit.
you couldn't add a second device. It said that in when we talked to
Stupid.
the guys, but then we met someone who also was trying to do this, and they were told it was suggested that they go ask someone else to who didn't buy the Wi-Fi package to have them buy it, and you just pay them
And they
back
were
and
giving
log
them
in.
cash. Like, right. They're just like, I'll
And it
give
could
you
be some random
$35.
Joe if you don't know anybody else on the cruise. It was their whole Wi-Fi process was needs to be revamped because
Yeah,
if you're a remote
it
worker,
was
this is
bad.
not encouraging people to take these longer cruises if you can only use one device. Now, I will say you did have the option to buy multiple devices before you got on the cruise.
Before you boarded the ship.
Correct. It just wasn't an option by the time like we were looking at it. So I don't know if they changed it
But
towards
you
the
know what? You
end.
would not always know that you need the Wi-Fi package because we were going to be in Port Canaveral. We were going to be in Nassau. You should have been able to get Wi-Fi, but I could never, ever. And then in Miami, we didn't know we were going to be there, but we should have been able to get Wi-Fi there. You got okay Wi-Fi there. I did not even get good Wi-Fi, not even in
Well, in
Miami.
Miami, I was able just to use my cellular data. I didn't use Wi-Fi.
Well,
In
my
Miami
shit,
and
nothing
Orlando
was working.
or
Nada.
Port Canaveral, yeah.
It was
And that
checked out. It
depends
was
on your
like, nope.
carrier. Your cellular service depends on your carrier. And those are the two separate things, the cellular service versus the Wi-Fi. Really, you got to check with your carrier. And then the Wi-Fi on the ship was totally different and bad. So it was very
It
difficult
was
to
bad.
use and expensive. That was
Yeah,
not,
35 bucks. Yeah, I want my money back, yo.
yeah.
That was not worth it at all. Um, okay, so we thought we were going to be able to work more, so we couldn't. So we just went and got more drinks.
Yeah. And then we
We went and
pretty
found more
much
alcohol.
well, I don't remember. Was there a theme that night? Oh, yes, it was. It was Dressed Like a Star, something like that. Hot
Dressed like a
pink.
star.
So we
That's
ended up
right.
wearing hot pink, and we'll post some pictures of it. But I was trying to think of what
Yeah.
uh but we ended up
But it was so cold. Guess what Miss D ended up wearing again? Her friggin' famous fleece lined black leggings with a hot pink sequin top. I practically lived in those leggings, and I will put out a link, by the way, because those leggings are magical, and people should know. Yeah, so it was still cold. So it wasn't what I would normally have worn. I think I had one more dress, but at that point, I'm trying to survive the Hunger Games ship at this point. I'm just trying to make it
right.
through. We've had the fire, we've had the death, and then I don't think we put this in here because maybe we didn't find out until the very last day, but there was in fact, a second death
I
with the
wasn't sure when
ship.
we were gonna bring that up because I honestly can't
And
remember when we heard about it.
listen, I no, we found out about it on the last day because I said, Cheryl, nobody would believe us that this actually all of this stuff happened on the ship. It was almost like we're in a friggin' clue game or
Right.
something. In
Yes.
the cigar lounge was the setting of this game, and multiple people have died. Who set the fire? Like,
What was the name of the show you said it reminded you of?
it reminded me of White Lotus. It was that
Okay.
fucking buck wild with all of these characters because the people on the ship are all different characters and they've all got a lot going on and it's all getting so crazy. At this point it was unbelievable what we'd witnessed, what we handled. Like I handled a medical emergency of a passenger who came to me. His uncle was struggling. It was alcohol related. Um, and we never got their permission to share the story, so I won't go into detail about it, but it was scary. And I had to personally call the medics on the ship to attend to this one gentleman. Um, and I was talking to the nephew's parents on the phone and I'm telling them all the medical conditions that are going on with this particular passenger. It really was like sucked it sucked a lot out. At that point, I'm just a caretaker passenger travel agent on the ship at this point.
Right.
And it just started it even kept getting more and more bizarre. The people kept started coming to us with all their stories of things that had happened on the ship that week. And it just kept getting more and more crazy. I'm sorry we can't give you all the details, but we honestly were just like, we just gotta fucking make it off the ship alive
Yes.
at this point. At this point, let us just get off here alive. That's all I'm asking for. That's all. That's my goal is to
So
get
I do
back to
want
New
to
York.
say also, we found out, I think this is when we found out about the outside club on the back of the ship that night. So we were
No,
wondering,
I had been there before. We had been there before. I actually have videos. A video earlier in our tropical dress. We didn't get to go out back very often because the weather was so bad and it was always so windy and so rainy. But it was chilly, but not raining. So we did actually go out there and dance to the music and had a little bit of fun out there.
yeah, which that's a nice hot spot, which I bet when it's really nice
Yeah,
weather, that's where a
I
lot of
bet
people
you
are.
that's
It was
like
really
the place
nice
to
back
be.
there.
And
Yeah.
it's adults only because that's on deck 18, that little
Yes,
club area.
right. So as we wrapped up our final night, we were very, very much looking forward to getting off the ship the next day. So it ended up being a long night because there was a lot of drama. But by
We're
the
not
time
going there.
we
Yeah.
got into our room, we were just flabbergasted by everything that had happened. And we're like, we really need to decompress and talk about this and let people know that it gets crazy. So
And weren't people allowed to normally when you buy alcohol, you have to wait to take it off the ship, right?
yeah,
They
so
let people have it the last day at sea. I think
right.
that's
So
a lot of things went awry.
normally, like if you get out at a port and you purchase alcohol, like if you're doing like a rum tour or something, you bring it back on, the ship holds it until you get off, and it's
Get
usually
it
with your luggage. If
because they
you
don't want
buy out
5,000 drunk people on a ship.
right, if you buy alcohol on the ship, out at sea on their it's duty free. You don't pay taxes on alcohol, cigarettes, things like that.
Correct.
So people will tend
Yep.
to buy alcohol, stock up on alcohol and cigarettes. Usually, again, you get it when you get off the ship. However, on day 7, Friday, they were giving it to people starting at like 2 to 4, between 2 and 4 o'clock.
Something like that. I think it was like in the
So
afternoon. We still
every
had the whole night to get through.
right. So why buy drinks when I can just drink all these bottles that I've just bought and pass out drinks. And so I do think that played
Yeah,
into a
and
lot of the
people had brought
chaos.
bottles of champagne and rum and stuff up to the cigar room. At that last night, they were handing out free shots. They were
Yes.
handing out, like, they gave us a free bottle of champagne that they had gotten by complaining about something.
Right.
It was crazy.
Which it wasn't
It
very
was
good.
crazy.
It was actually the first night I found Moscato. So they had it on the ship because that was a Moscato that he had brought up. And I was like, mm. I was hot because
Yeah.
it just added to this can't really be happening at the end of it was crazy. So we
And
were
we
very
were
glad to
seeing,
be going back to our rooms and back to bed
yeah,
that night.
and we were seeing characters. We're gonna call them characters, but they're really passengers on the ship. But like, stuff was starting to get real fucking crazy. Like, there was a couple, the guy was gambling a lot. His wife was trying to convince him that he needed to stop drinking and stop gambling. There's like kind of like a altercation going on in the room, and we're just like, it's okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
So we were just
So
ready to
then
be done at that point.
yeah, we went back to our room, chilled out, went to bed. And so when you get up the next day, you have to be out of your room by 7:30. They
Early.
want you out. They're already out there ready to prep.
And I don't
So
think we got back to our room till like 4 a.m. or
yes.
3 a.m. It was
By
a
the
late night because we knew it was the last night. And
right.
it was so wild. We honestly didn't even know how to get out of there with everything happening, everything going on. It was almost unbelievable. It was almost like a movie that we were in or something. So we were just like so baffled by everything and absorbing it all. I think we lost track of time,
We
Cheryl.
did,
Like,
because
I
at
don't
one
even
point that someone said, "Hey, let's go find a good spot to watch the
we
sunrise."
could
And I
watch
said,
the
"That's it.
sunrise.
That's what I called it." I
I
was like, "Last call,
Oh,
people.
and I
Let's
was
go."
like, "Carol, let's do it." And you're like, "Denise, get your ass over here. We're going
Yep.
to bed."
I
And I
was
was like,
like, "Last
"Okay,
call. We are
Mom."
going to bed." We took a couple pictures and then we left. But I forgot I forgot it was that late because normally we were back to our room like by midnight or 2, between 12 and 2, depending on the events going on. But you're right, that night it was like 4:30 and we had to be up by 6:30 to get ready and be out of our
Yeah,
room
we
by
did not have a
7:30.
lot of sleep. And I was still, okay, so but at this point, the seas were rough. They had been. We were taking our, whatever the hell stuff you were giving me, that Bonine or Bonine or
Oh
whatever
nine, yeah. I
yeah.
recommend Bow 9.
So I I was taking all that, and still it felt like, even after I got off the ship, it felt like it was rocking. But even on the ship, it still felt, I didn't feel good. I mean, I woke up, I had a couple hours of sleep, probably hung over a bit, and just overwhelmed with the events that had happened that night.
Right.
Not going into
So
detail, but so a major event happened that night was way out of control.
yeah, so
And
we ended up with what people may not know is even though you have to leave your room by 7:30, you can go to breakfast, you can chill out, but or if you, depending on your order that you're called, because we had dropped our luggage out the night before, we were given a group number. So once we were able to disembark when our group was called. Um,
we didn't hear any groups
no,
called, did we, Cheryl?
so because we were like number 22 or something. We went outside because it was actually sunny. We were back in New York. The weather was decent, surprisingly.
It was
So
actually the warmest it had been, I think, the
right,
whole friggin' cruise
I
in New York when
agree.
we got off the ship.
So then
What
we
kind
just
of
we
fucking
grabbed
malarkey is that?
I got coffee, you got a mimosa, and we hung out and waited. We did not hear our number called. Finally, we did hear, all right, this is last call. Everybody should be off the ship. And this was about 10:30, I think, because we had a later flight, so we were in no rush. Um, it was crazy how it was again
Oh,
disorganized,
so much
not
shit
very
show.
much
It's so fabulous
communication.
in New York as I'm getting off the ship. It's so fabulous. My
Yeah.
hugs were shit.
So then as we go to leave, most people are already off because we didn't know. So then we ended up going down to get our luggage, which is in this bit in the port. After you get off the ship, you go out and in the port, it's like a big, it looks like a warehouse. There's all your luggage. They have,
Like a
this was the
hanger,
first
yeah.
time the signage was perfect. We looked for our number. Right under our number was our luggage. The luggage was very easy to find. So if you've ever considered putting your luggage out at the end of the night, the day before, in our case this time, it worked very well. It worked in our
It was
favor.
great. Yep,
But as
it
we
was.
leave, we get our luggage, we go out. This is where it falls apart again. The way they have it set up is you're all walking out basically right into the road, right into the little U shape of where all the cars are. It's almost like
Yeah.
curbside pickup. However,
Hmm.
this causes congestion and then you don't know where you're supposed to go. So we just kept walking straight to get to the other side of the road to be able to pause on the median
But
and
I
which
will say we had all of our stuff at this point, right, Cheryl? We had our check suitcase, we had our carry-on case, we had our go bag. So we had all this stuff, and they didn't really make it super. So we're dragging everything everywhere, trying to figure out where to go just to get to the airport to get home.
right.
That was a
So
little overwhelming to me.
it was because, like I said, we got to the other side of the road to the median where they had the cover, where it looks like people are supposed to be standing. On that
Yeah,
side, there were signs. However, we could not, we were getting an Uber. I had to actually stop someone and say, "Hey, where do we go? Because this looks like personal pickup. This is not
yeah.
Uber. These are not
They
taxis, or they
we
were
didn't
only
know where to
taxis
go.
on one side." So we ended up having to go back across the street and to the other
Wheeling all our shit with us.
because the signage was not good. And then where they had all the passengers waiting for the Ubers or the lifts or anything was so we were standing in the road. Like they had barriers and stuff, but it was just again a cluster and not very well organized or no direction. So, and by this point we're on not just us being irritated, overtired,
Everybody.
I think everybody at this point was. So of course, not everybody's being nice. There are people yelling. It's chaos. We get a great Uber driver again. She was so nice. She didn't talk, which we were okay with that because we were just done.
I was digesting. I was
Yeah.
just digesting.
So then we're on our way to LaGuardia, which when we arrived to New York, we didn't spend a lot of time in the airport because it's obviously get out, get an Uber, get to our hotel. However, obviously we get here, we've got a couple hours to spare. My opinion of the airport was great. We ended up staying, but we did not go
Loved
through
it.
TSA as soon as we got there. We actually went and found it was so quiet. For I really expected this airport to be like bustling and just loud, not obnoxious loud, but just people loud. We did not go through TSA, so we stayed at this little it had a little bar cafe kind of thing, got another drink, got some coffee. I think we even had a snack and stayed on that side because there was not a lot of people. We had comfy chairs. I was able to go
Bites.
out and
We had pretzel
smoke.
bites. Yep.
Yeah, and then so we stayed there for a couple hours. Bathrooms were empty because everybody goes straight through TSA and hangs out over there. We
Yeah.
didn't. It was really nice and quiet and peaceful. But when we went through TSA, Denise, I'll let you talk about that because again, remember we had TSA pre-check and
Listen, that
this was
it
fun.
was a bit confusing. It was a bit confusing. We had TSA pre-check, right? So we go over to that side. Nobody's there. Literally nobody. Like there wasn't even any guy. He came up. So typically there's like baskets, right? Basket here, put your shit in here. Take if you have to take off your shoes, but we shouldn't have to, but you did in the beginning. So we didn't know what to expect. It was quiet, it was beautiful. You can tell that they renovated this airport though. I will say that I do know I did a little bit of research and they actually spent like $8 billion renovating this LaGuardia airport. So it was gorgeous. So we're going through the pre-check and I don't see any containers anywhere, so I just put my shit up on the belt and he's like, "Ma'am, you have to use the boxes, the containers." And I'm like, "I don't see any containers." And he's like, they're down under your feet." Like so they had like a shelf underneath. They had to pull out the container, put it up on the box. But there was nobody there, so they weren't even using anything. So I kind of felt like a dumbass, but it's not my first time. So I followed the protocol, but it was just like there wasn't a lot of instruction there either. But after we got that, we got right through, and then it was beautiful and dreamy over there. In fact, we were in Terminal B, and we had heard about this waterfall feature from our friend Alicia that had been in New York and said how amazing it was. So it was really happenstance that when I walked by and you were going to hit the coffee spot, that
Mhm.
I stood by the fountain and I got this like 3-minute amazing video of, I'll tell you, so it has it's one of a kind. It's 4,000 gallons of recirculated water that goes through it. It has two rings, and then they've got like a projector. That alone was like millions of dollars they spent on this waterfall feature. But it's so cool. It has an actual projection in the water as the water is coming down of like taxi cabs, and it goes into all the five boroughs. Like, so it's showing you Staten Island and Bronx and Brooklyn, and it was just so magical. We'll definitely post that too because you guys have to see this waterfall feature. Like, that was what I needed. I was feeling a bit overwhelmed at this point. Not feeling well at that point. I was congested, still the sea is still rocking for me even though I got off the ship. And to just see the water and the lights, and that is exactly what I needed. And then we went and I got I got an IPA, I got a hazy IPA at the little pub. But everything was done and renovated. It started to feel like, oh, Cheryl,
We're
we made it
home.
off the
Yeah.
Hunger Games cruise. We're in the home stretch. If we don't go down in this last plane crash, then we fucking made it home. Like, that was our goal at that point.
And it was so
We
funny because
survived.
I remember now that you said that when we were sitting, I think when we were sitting in the bar area at the before we went through TSA, I think I changed our seats to the exit
The
row,
exit row.
and there was only
And I didn't know
two.
this. I
No,
didn't know this at the time. You didn't
because
even
I
spring that
paid.
shit
I
on me.
paid. I was like, I don't want to sit near people. I want space. I need and they were available. So I was like, I'm taking these and paid the upcharge. And I was like, this is what we're gonna do. But we had turned come to find out we're sitting right across from the flight attendant. So it was still kind of squishy. It was just I don't
I
know,
she
but we
stepped
were
no, not the flight attendant, but the lady, the way that it went, so we were also right behind the bathroom. So people were coming in and out of the bathroom the whole time.
yeah, that didn't bother me. I didn't want people
No, it
coming
didn't
in and out
bother
of the
me
seats.
except for the
Yeah.
girl behind us walked around me and stepped right on my foot, like stomped on my foot. And she's like, I'm sorry. And I'm just like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
survivor. I'm a survivor.
But we
I
made
can
it,
do this.
so we made it home. We got to my car. I think everything was going well. I don't this was what was
On the
funny.
shuttle,
The
yes.
shuttle. Yeah, I had forgotten about the shuttle. So the shuttle,
And
we're
oh,
back
let
in
me just
Charlotte.
say, let's wait. Let's rewind 1 second because what's funny is our fearless leader agent Julie texted us halfway through the cruise and are like, "Are you guys okay?" And we're like, "Damn, what does she know that we don't know?" Because TAs get a little inside skinny sometimes. We talk to each other. She essentially said she had heard what a shit show this cruise was from other people, like in the industry, and how people had died and there'd been a fire. Like, people knew out there before we even got off the ship that it was a shit show and it was being called the Hunger Games cruise. Okay, so that's what our agent that lives in the US was already knowing about us like mid week. So then we get off, we landed, we survived, we're headed home. We get the shuttle to satellite parking. And then what did the nice couple say to us, Cheryl?
So we're on the shuttle. I think I have my go bag in my lap. There's only five of us on the shuttle. Denise and I are sitting beside each other. There's a couple sitting across, and then a nice
Maybe they
lady
could
to
see
the
the
side.
trauma on my face.
So I don't know what prompted them. I don't know what prompted them to ask us this, but they said we hadn't been talking. Like we were silent.
I
We were
I was at
ready to
that
be
point,
home.
I was
It's
just
like
like,
8 o'clock at night. It's crazy. So the lady said to us, she's like, "Did you happen to just get off the MSC cruise?" And I said, "Yeah, how did you know?" And she's like, "Well, we just got off a cruise as well, but we heard about your cruise on our cruise." And
oh God.
I don't know if we just look like we just went through the ringer, but or what made her ask us that. but it was just so funny out of nowhere. She's like, "Did you guys just get off
It
the
was
MSC cruise?" So apparently they were talking about our cruise on other cruise lines and cruise ships going on at the same time. So yeah,
yeah.
it just goes to show you we're not exaggerating by how crazy this is. I mean, we're a
No,
little
we're
dramatic,
not.
but
And actually, I'll be honest with you, MSC was on the morning news a couple days later
because
because
of the
they
way they,
completely switched the itinerary
yeah.
without telling passengers before they got on. So they've
Right.
got some work to do, and we'll talk about that in our closing remarks. But um so I'll say this, we survived. My takeaway, my final review is, whew, that was a crazy cruise. I honestly, we're gonna get back to our BDM. She knew coming into it, she had some work to do, and she got a lot of fucking work to do, is what it comes down to. And I think it just depends on, maybe it depends on the port, because we have heard different things out of like Orlando. I don't know exactly where they all poured out of, but I personally would probably never port out of this ship out of Brooklyn again. Me personally, this is just my takeaway. Um, the level of craziness and the passengers, using that term loosely, I don't know who got on at that port, but they're a bunch of wild cards, wild cards. And I honestly could not recommend it. I honestly, I'm not saying that I would not give Yacht Club another try, maybe on this ship or a different ship, maybe out of a different port. I can't go to that same vibe, Cheryl. I'm a little bit scarred, and I honestly don't know. So what's your takeaway? I'd love to know yours, Cheryl. What are your thoughts?
So I agree with you. I think honestly, I really feel bad that this was our experience, and I feel bad for MSC because I think they did get a lot of shit for this particular cruise and the one that came after, because they kind of had the perfect storm. Literally, it was horrible weather, ports were bad. It was just not a good presentation of what they could potentially offer. So keep that in mind when
Hmm.
we're giving our feedback, is that this
This is
is not
our
normal,
experience,
but it's also
right?
not normal for cruising this time of year. It ended up being just the perfect storm of shit all coming together at one time.
Right.
So there were so many parts of this ship that I loved. I loved the ambiance. I loved the staff and crew. Um,
Agreed.
it was
Agreed. Check, check,
beautiful.
and check. It
Um,
was beautiful.
so I absolutely could see the value in going to on this cruise line for certain clients.
And my understanding is it's kind of comparable to like a carnival
Yeah,
budget point. If you're looking at some like budget point, it's a it's a value cruise, and the
right.
ship
So
is gorgeous.
I would say for my takeaway, I would absolutely go on another MSC cruise. I want to give it another shot because I just think everything that could go wrong did go wrong.
In the yacht club, the only way I would give it another shot is in the yacht club.
Well, I definitely want to try the yacht club, but I also kind of want to do it the same way we did, because I want to be able to say across the board, okay, I've given this two different tries, two
All
different
right, you
ports
better find yourself
at
another
my
fucking
clients
roommate.
where most of my clients would probably go. This is where I can give my honest feedback and say, okay, I've
I
given them.
honestly, for me, it would be like I only would probably refer people to the yacht club. For me, my
Right.
clients,
Right. So
based on
that's
what
why I
I
was
went
saying how
through.
I felt about it was, here's who
Hmm.
I think this cruise line would be great for. I think
Do
if
tell.
you are planning a girls' weekend, a bachelorette, and you know that you're going to be doing a lot of your own entertaining. You're
I
not
can see
looking to be entertained by the ship, but you want the ambiance.
that. Okay.
You want the atmosphere, you want that vibe of for the level up of glamour, glitz, that kind of thing. I think this is perfect for that because it has that. There are a few things you could do. If the weather's great, you're going to be out by the pool, you're going to be at the port.
I,
So when you're ready to hang out and you're ready to take those pictures, you're ready to have dinner,
yeah.
and you're not a great foodie, then you're just satisfied with food, then I think this would be a good I think the price is right for that type
Yeah.
of atmosphere.
I think what Mother Nature was a fucking bitch to us is what
Correct.
happened too.
Yeah. So I do think there is value in I think this cruise line has a lot of growth to make.
Yes.
I think that they have,
I
you know,
wouldn't say it's a lost cause, but
correct.
that
Yeah.
this cruise, I would never wish this on my worst enemy. Never, ever.
Right.
I wouldn't.
So I think again, everybody take into account the fact that we had everything go wrong that could go wrong. The weather, our ports,
Yes. Hmm.
everything was
Hmm.
just kind of stacked against MSC. So I think our review is slightly skewed because of all the things against it. And the
Okay.
passengers as well. The passengers played a huge part in our experience.
Aggressive, angry. Right. Yeah. So, but what I will say, I always try to find the silver lining in everything. Meeting the people, the Anthonys, the Johns, the Patties, the Eleanors, the Tonys, like all the really, really fabulous people we met, they're going to be our friends forever. I mean, I love those guys and everybody that we met that was really cool. Um, a beer, a beer. He was magical. We absolutely keep in touch with him. So, you know, you do meet some really nice people when you travel and when you go on trips, and that's what I love about travel is that you can make lifelong connections and lifelong friends. And I hope that's what we did here. Um, and now, you
And
know,
it's an
hopefully
adventure
we'll
we will
it
always
was an
remember.
adventure. I will absolutely give it that. And I hope that what we can give back to our BDM, um, they can make improvements because with a well-oiled engine and communication and things of that nature, they absolutely could be so much better. Uh,
Which
and
this
it
is
really what
why it's so important when you get a survey from any company experience. It's so important that you fill out those surveys because that's how they grow. But
they
here's the
want the
problem.
feedback.
MSC
Yeah,
did not send us a survey. I never received one. And always every other cruise line
no.
I've been on, you get a survey
I
within
think
48
they're
hours.
afraid. I think they're afraid to send out the
So this is
surveys
a
too.
type it up and email it type of review we have to do. Um, we did get some input from some people. They sent us emails. We're gonna
Yeah, and we're
confirm.
absolutely going to follow up with that. Yes.
Yeah. And then so before we wrap this up, we do want to throw out that next week, while we are done our review with MSC, we're wrapping it up in case you're tired of hearing about our adventure. Next
I
week,
know.
we do have
Thanks for hanging with us.
yeah, next week's episode will feature two of the artists that we met on the ship. So Denise, you want to tell us about that real quick?
Yeah, so Anthony Jefferson is a fabulous. He's a jazz vocalist. We're gonna put both of their information in the notes, and we're gonna feature them because we got to interview them. Anthony is from New Orleans. He lives in Dominican Republic, has for last 20 years. John Reyna is a pianist. He does a little bit of everything. I think he's classically trained, but he also does jazz. We're going to give all their website, all their social media information. He also lives in the Dominican Republic, but he's originally born and raised in the Netherlands. They're both so funny and fabulous.
So don't forget
You
to
know,
check out that
absolutely.
episode. Yeah. But that wraps up
Yes,
our MSC review. So tell us
we
what you
survived.
would you go on an MSC cruise? We're asking you.
And
Our
have you and would you again? So we're leaving it out there to the people. Um, or would you based on our our review? But I think that it really was a culmination of crazy weather and anything that could go wrong. It's like the no good, very bad day, except for it was 8 days.
right.
But we did have fun. I will say we did have fun. We always have fun. We will always continue to have fun. Make lemonade out of lemons, you
Yes.
know?
Thanks for
Suitcase
listening, guys.
Divas are out for the day. Have a great day, guys.